Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're using yet another wild creation by 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsubo, who I think we featured more than any other player on this channel. I think I've already said that multiple times already, but he continues to just innovate with really fun teams, and he's actually built a Zygarde team recently. So this team has a lot of fun stuff. Obviously the Zygarde is Lumberry with Dragon Dance and Crunch. You also have Life Orb Salazzle, which is a really cool partner, and Fini on the team, right? So like multiple Swagger users, Tornadus plus Zygarde, Salazzle plus Zygarde, both are strong. When you have Fini as well, you can actually set up that Misty Terrain to Swagger beyond that first Lumberry activation as well. So that's a good way to increase Zygarde's damage output even further. And then you have AV Ferrothorn with Steel Roller as well on this team. So there's a lot of cool components. Salazzle in itself is really interesting because it actually has, you know, a really good speed stat, so it outspeeds a lot of the most common non-restricteds in the format. Pokemon like Rillaboom, Urshifu, Landorus Eye, for example. Overheat can deal massive amounts of damage to all of those Pokemon as well as Sludge Bomb. So this means that you can like lead Tornadus, Zygarde, Salazzle, Zygarde, and either just go for a self-swagger or like a fake-out Dragon Dance, for example, and then go from there. The key thing about Zygarde is its ability Power Construct, right? You basically want to prevent Zygarde from getting one-shot. You want your opponent to deal enough damage where they activate your ability, and then you get to transform forms. So the thing about Zygarde is being very careful about how you play with it. Even if you get like a boost from Dragon Dance or Swagger boost, Zygarde's not one-shotting most things in the format unless it's super effective. It just isn't that offensive of a Pokemon. So even if you're at +3, +4 attack, you're not going to guarantee a one-hit KO onto a lot of Pokemon in the format, especially because Thousand Arrows becomes spread damage. So you really want to be careful about that. So the main thing in playing with the Zygarde is basically trying to set it up correctly, right? Be in a position where even if you get crit by your opponent, they won't get a one-hit KO onto you. Zygarde is really important to basically play around in terms of its health. So switching it in when you think isn't going to take very much damage is obviously critical, but also potentially switching it in so that you activate that Power Construct is also going to be really critical. So I'd say this is a really cool team. Thousand Arrows is also just a really reliable attack, especially if you get attack boosts because your opponent just can't switch in very easily. So that's really fun. The main thing to note is that Swagger is only 85% accurate, so you are often going to miss Swagger when you use the strategy. So you ideally don't want to rely on Swagger, but be in a position where, like, okay, if you miss, you're still in okay shape. If you hit, you will just, like, snowball the game and potentially just win from there. So that's one thing to keep in the back of your mind. But yeah, I think the main thing is that Salazzle is a really interesting support-oriented Pokemon that can actually one-shot a lot of Pokemon in the format. It's also really good into restricteds like Zacian, for example, because it can't necessarily one-shot you very easily. You also put on fake-out pressure against them, and you can also just overheat them. So I think Salazzle is probably very underplayed right now, and this team utilizes it super well, especially when you consider the Lumberry on the Zygarde. So thanks to Ryota as always for the team. Check him out, linked in the description below. His Twitter and YouTube are linked, as well as a Rento and a Pace courtesy of him. And yeah, thanks to you all as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, I kind of want to just know what your hopes are for next gen. You know, obviously we're still kind of far out from it, but I was just thinking about it. And for me, I think competitively, you know, they made a lot of great changes to make the quality of life easier for competitive play in Sword and Shield. Love to see them include stuff that makes, you know, some of the stuff even easier. For example, like a bottle cap that lets you get a 0 IV rather than a 31 IV, for example. And overall, I would just hope for, yeah, some innovation and things to kind of freshen up the general like storyline and the progression of the game. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's get started. All right, getting into the first one here, and it's going to be Lunala. Okay, that's really interesting. Wonder if it has Wide Guard here. Zygarde's not bad. I actually have to be worried about their Ditto copying my Zygarde though, especially if we get boost onto it. So that's one thing to watch out for. AV Pharaoh is really sweet here. Well, actually, I don't know if it's that good. We've got a pretty fast fake out user here in Salazzle. It also has overheat into Rillaboom. I think Fini and Zygarde are without a doubt must-brings. Tornadus probably as well, so then it's one of the last three. They're all pretty good for their own separate reasons. Pharaoh's really bad into Entei, but really good into the Lunala. Yeah, especially because we have knockoff. Kind of want to try Salazzle, honestly. Okay, I think I'm actually down for Salazzle Zygarde, because this Zygarde I was playing a couple practice matches, and like, it's not just about Swagger, right? You also have Dragon Dance. So with this, what I can do is just fake out D-Dance turn 1, self-Swagger turn 2. Potentially. So, yeah. Now, the key thing about Zygarde is noting its bulk. Like I said, I was playing some warm-up matches, and I think the main thing was... And they actually bring out Rillaboom and Lunala. Okay, that's pretty good for our Salazzle here. The thing is, they might get a knockout onto it. If you're my opponent turn 1, you probably just fake out into the... The thing is, I could just burst Rillaboom with an Overheat. Like, of course, here I could fake out into Rillaboom. Maybe that's still worth going for. Well, fake out Dragon Dance is the play I'm looking at right now. I don't know. Overheat to just knock out Rillaboom would be so sweet, though. Okay, I'm actually down to Overheat, and I forgot we have Crunch, by the way. That's going to be really good against a Lunala. Okay, they're going to go for Fake Out. Okay, so they do target Salazzle. So, like, I had the opportunity to flinch their Rillaboom there, but that's fine. Lunala's slower, so it's either really slow, it's going for Trick Room here. Trick Room would be scary. Okay, it's Meteor Beam, that's fine. You get a boost, but the thing is, now I know I'm faster, so what I can actually do is just go Tornadus, Swagger, and then just crunch into Lunala for a KO. Knowing that I'm faster is a really... Actually, I'm already going to be faster because of the Dragon Dance anyway, but the fact that we're faster to begin with is also nice. So it's like, yeah, you get a knockout onto Salazzle, but, you know, you just wasted a lot of effort to KO Salazzle. The Overheat there was basically to deter... Like, if they decided to fake out Zygarde, then I knock out Rillaboom, and knocking out Rillaboom is really valuable because we have Fini in the back, right? So... yeah, now I can just bring out Tornadus. The only scary thing here is missing Swagger, 85%, so it's not amazing, but I think we still go for it. Rillaboom doesn't scare me at all in this position, so yep, it's just going to be Swagger into Crunch here. And if we hit the Swagger, Lunala does not protect. I don't think a lot of people will expect Crunch on Zygarde. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so they don't protect, they don't switch out, we get the Swagger off. All of that is perfect news for us here. So Lumberry activates. And Crunch should just be a KO here. Beautiful. Okay. So that's +3 Crunch into Lunala. Oh. Wow. That is a testament to Lunala's bulk. That is impressive. Okay, they target Torn. That's pretty interesting. It is really bulky. Wow. But that's fine. Like, they didn't double up on the Zygarde there. Honestly, I'm not even sure a Glide plus a Moongeist Beam would have been able to knock us out, because they appear to be very, very bulky. So I spoke a little bit too soon. I thought that like a +3 Crunch would definitely be a KO. That's wild that it isn't, but that's still fine. My only question now is whether or not they have Wide Guard, and whether or not I should play around the Wide Guard. It is Dark Urshifu. Tailwind here is really safe, so I'm down for a Tailwind. I'm going to 1,000 Arrows. Wide Guard isn't that common on Lunala. If they have it, I at least get to confirm it here, and a Wicked Blow into Zygarde isn't that bad for us anyway. They actually just detect, though. Okay, great. No problem with me. Tailwind isn't really necessary, because Zygarde should be outspeeding everything at this point in the game anyway, but it's still fine to go for. Now the thing is, they do get Rillaboom out, so they pressure with Fake Out, but I have a +3 Zygarde in this game already, right? And they haven't hit it with any damage. I wonder if they were reading into a Zygarde Protect last turn, but either way, I think we had a pretty good chance of surviving, given that the Tornadus survived Moongeist Beam with as much HP as it did. So, yeah. That's really... I know Lunala's ability obviously allows it to take super effective attacks better, but still, +3 Crunch, and it still survives. Pretty impressive. So you would think you bring out Rillaboom now. Oh, they bring out Ditto. So, Ditto will copy my boosts, but I have Tailwind up. That's the most important thing. Yeah, okay. Obviously, you could just Sucker Punch here. Even if they Sucker Punch, is it that bad? It actually would be kind of a problem. So I'm going to go on into Fini here. And go for 1,000 Arrows. Yeah. We have Tailwind, so that helps, because even if you're Choice Scarf Ditto, I have the speed advantage right now. Fini's really good into both of these right now as well. So This was what I was talking about as we were going into the game, right? Like, Ditto potentially being able to copy my Zygarde boost is kind of annoying, but that's okay. Yep, they go for Sucker. Okay, perfect. We get 1,000 arrows off. Great. Okay, doesn't get a knockout on Tither, but that's fine. Really good damage. They just go for 1,000 arrows of their own. Also fine. The main thing here is I have the speed advantage. Does impressively... crits Fini. I was going to say, I don't think that's a KO without a crit. That's okay, though. Because we should transform now. And I still have the speed advantage, right? So, yeah, I think we're still okay. I just don't know the item on their Zygarde right now. Or, sorry, on their, not their Zygarde. What am I thinking of? Actually, no, it is the Zygarde. Sorry, I meant to say Ditto. Okay. Obviously, Sucker Punch is still what I'm trying to play around. Crit on Fini is really annoying, but that's okay. I'm just going to self-swagger here, I think. And 1,000 arrows. Your play is actually, if you're my opponent right now, to switch the Ditto out. To copy me again. And protect Urshifu. But they just detect. Oh, it's actually a really big deal they went for detect there, because that means you can't go for another detect next turn. So once you bring out Rillaboom, well, you would think they would just fake out Sucker Punch. Either way, yeah, we get 1,000 arrows off, so I think we're still in pretty good shape. But had Fini survived, I think we would have been in... Would we have been in excellent shape? What would I have done? Then I would actually probably just protect Fini and go for another 1,000 arrows, then switch Fini out into Tornadus so that Fini can win the end game against Urshifu, maybe? I'm not 100% sure, actually. Okay, either way, they bring out Rillaboom. Now, the key thing to note is that I actually don't have great damage output into Rillaboom, so this is still very scary. If you're my opponent at this point, you can just go for Sucker Punch again. I played around the Sucker Punch a bunch. Question is whether or not it's worth it to actually play around it now. Because they could Wicked Blow here. I actually do think it's worth playing around here, because then we could also... Actually, we don't really need another Tailwind, but yeah, I'm going to Taunt here and 1,000 arrows. Okay, should be Fake out into Zygarde. Oh! They target Torn. Okay, then Sucker Punch then, maybe into... Oh, they don't even Sucker Punch. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Nice, and 1,000 arrows now should just be a KO onto Rillaboom, given that it'll be single target, given that Urshifu faints. Didn't play out the way I expected it to, but okay, we take those. Not bad. Ditto was really scary here, but the main thing is that we had the speed advantage, and then they... Okay. Is there any way in which we lose this? Even crit Grassy Glide from Seed, would it KO? I don't think so. Is it correct to protect in this position? Because I would think 1,000 arrows is just a KO. Wait, actually, isn't Crunch just stronger? 1,000 arrows is same type of attack bonus, but slightly decreased. +5 Crunch, I think, would finish it off. Let's see. Okay, they just go for Glide. Oh, that did nothing. Okay, nice. 85, so even a crit, we would have survived. Okay. I was just nervous about it surviving because earlier the Lunala survived with +3 Crunch, which was super wild to see. And Zygarde's damage output isn't amazing, to be honest, but we got everything we needed out of it in this game, right? We got the full swagger setup, so I'm really happy. That's exactly how you can snowball very quickly with this thing. And like I said, I was playing a couple practice games, and I didn't realize just how essential Dragon Dance could be, right? Because it just allows you to outspeed almost everything once you get that speed boost. And so don't be afraid to just lead Zygarde. Like, you don't necessarily need to go with Swagger on it onto turn 1. Salazzle plus Zygarde's a really cool lead, especially because that Salazzle has Swagger, so you can self-Swagger yourself. But there are a lot of cool plays that you can make with it. So yeah, that was definitely a really fun opening match. And we got Zygarde, you know, transform +5 and the +1 speed boost. So definitely demonstrated like a lot of its full power. But once again, key thing about this Pokemon is even after multiple attack boosts, it's not going to get one-shots, so you have to play towards its bulk, and ideally play around critical hits, because it's, you know, you are probably going to get crit a couple times, especially when your games go on longer and you're aiming to basically fully set this Pokemon up. So fun opening match, and let's just look for some more. All right, next one of the day, and it's Necrozma. Wow, okay, with Torkoal Lilligant. So I haven't used Necrozma Duskmane yet, but this actually reminds me a little bit of the Dawn Wings team we featured with Torkoal, Lilligant, and Stack. Okay. I mean, Zygarde does look pretty good here, but I have to watch out for foul play from the Tapu, or sorry, foul play from the Umbreon, as well as weakness policy on the Necrozma and Wide Guard. And play rough from Mimikyu. Wide Guard from Stack. So there's a lot of stuff to watch out for here. Salazzle's really interesting, actually. I really like it here. I think it's probably the top 4. Yeah, I honestly think I'm willing to just go with Salazzle and Zygarde here with Fini and Tornadus in the back. The thing about Salazzle is actually very strong offensively here, and we might even want to try to conserve it to deal with Necrozma. This is a really cool team, though, and I'm glad you can see as Series 10 extends, like, there's so many options outside of what I think in the first couple of days, you know, a lot of people were talking about how there was very little creativity in the format and people were just using the same things. But the reality is that, like, people just, like, haven't really tested the boundaries yet, and now that we've had a couple of weeks to play the format, there's been more of an established metagame. You can see a lot of non-orthodox strategies thrive, which I think is super cool. So yeah, it's gonna be Torkoal plus Mimikyu. Mimikyu is interesting. Would not have expected that, but that's okay. I'm a bit worried about here. Torkoal's in a really bad spot. I can obviously, like, Sludge Bomb Mimikyu, break its disguise. Don't necessarily want to Dragon Dance. Honestly, Self-Swagger turn 1 just to get the attack boost off immediately is kind of tempting here. Even if you have Will-O-Wisp or Play Rough on Mimikyu, we can take either, and here I would think my opponent wants to get up Trick Room. There's also a chance Torkoal switches out. You'll probably protect Torkoal here, but if you, like, switch out and I just get a free 1,000 arrows off, that'd be really nice. And they actually just stay in and don't protect. Okay. So we'll get Swagger off to start off the game. That's good. Main thing is this Mimikyu going for a Will-O-Wisp here, a Play Rough, a Trick Room. Not sure. One of those 3. But this is a good start. I don't even know if plus 2,000 arrows KOs Torkoal here. Yeah. That's okay, though. Oh, Torkoal could yawn. Okay, but even if you yawn, I just go into Fini. So it's fine. And just Eruption. Alright. Lowest value Eruption, really. That we really could have seen. So, not a bad start. Okay. Now is where the game gets interesting. Because they did get Trick Room up. So the main thing is they could get Necrozma out. It's probably policy. I don't know how fast it is relative to us is the question. We are pretty speedy. It should outpace us, I would think. I think Salazzle into Fini here is acceptable. The thing is, what's really interesting is I almost don't want 1,000 arrows to deny them a free switch it into Necrozma. Like, I kind of want to crunch here into the Mimikyu. Because if you're my opponent, you're in a weird spot where it's like, you kind of want me to KO your Torkoal, right? So if we can get their Torkoal to stay on the field for one more turn, that gives us a huge advantage. So I'm actually going to crunch the Mimikyu slot. If they switch out Torkoal, good on them. But yeah, they're staying in. Good. I just want to deny them a free switch in right now. I actually think Protect Zygarde here might have been the best play. Just to avoid, like, any shenanigans from the Mimikyu. But yeah, the main thing I want to watch out for here is Weakness Policy Necrozma with Shadow Sneak from the Mimikyu. They just go for Heat Wave. We actually dodge it on Necrozma. Or sorry, not Necrozma. Zygarde. Will-O-Wisp. Okay, perfect. Nice. Yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to play around this turn. Crunch is actually KO and it gets a crit. So that was a very favorable turn. We end up getting a dodge and a critical hit. I don't know. Actually, I would say the crit mattered. I don't know. Zygarde's damage output's just not that impressive, but I think turn 1 could have played out differently if they had just gone for Will-O-Wisp onto Zygarde immediately. It's then a question of how speedy your Mimikyu is. Some Trick Room teams will still run max speed Mimikyu specifically for positions where you can, like, you know, outspeed your opponent without setting up Trick Room. So Necrozma comes out for them. We've seen Eruption and Heat Wave. That Heat Wave did a fair amount of Fini, so I think it's Charcoal. You could self-Earth Power to activate a policy here. That'd be interesting. The play I lean towards most is honestly just double protect to stall out a turn in Trick Room and scout out for what they want to go for. Yeah, I'm down for that. So, honestly, I would have preferred Mimikyu to survive the turn because it just doesn't scare me that much. Yeah, you have Play Rough, but if anything, that would probably just get us to transform. They did not go for the Self-Earth power play. Okay. So they went Earth Power, Sunsteel Strike into Zygarde. I think the main thing here is we just honestly don't activate their weakness policy until Trick Room's over. What's their last one going to be? Lilligant, Umbreon. Neither of those are really scary with Fini. So I'm going to Calm Mind here and go for a Crunch onto Torkoal. We also have Salazzle to just overheat Necrozma in the end game. So Zygarde has honestly already done its job in just getting as much damage as it has to start off this game. So this is an example of a match where we use our opponent's Pokemon to our advantage, right? And we intentionally don't knock something out, forcing them to make the tricky decision. The thing with a lot of hard Trick Room teams, or just Trick Room compositions in general, is you often want something to feint on turn 1 or turn 2 so that you get your sweeper out on the field. However, if we don't pick up a knockout onto said Pokemon, it makes the match a lot more interesting, right? So they're going to Earth Power. It doesn't do that much. We should survive a Sunsteel Strike. Yeah, this just confirms the speeds as well, which is good to know. So barring a crit here, I think the main thing about Zygarde is just like you have to deal with a lot of potential critical hits, and that's really scary. But that's okay. In a setup-oriented strategy, that typically is going to be, more often the case than not. And the reason I'm not going for the obvious, double up here is because, like I said, I just don't want to activate Policy on Necrozma, right? This thing is not very scary if Policy isn't activated, and I have Salazzle in the back. The key thing to note is that both Tornadus and Salazzle are not exactly super... Well, Salazzle is offensive, but if we missed an overheat, for example, when we're ahead in this match and we're stalling out Trick Room, the main thing we want to do is just make sure that my opponent does not have an opportunity to come back. And the main way they'd come back is honestly via weakness policy. So that's just what I'm trying to play around. Now we transform. Stakataka's in the back. That is actually kind of annoying because that probably has Wide Guard. Huh. Okay. Last turn of Trick Room, but if you do have Wide Guard, this actually becomes a pretty interesting match. That is actually a doozy if it has Wide Guard, and I would suspect that it does. Last turn of Sunlight. Yeah, I'm just going to double protect here, but the problem is they actually get another Trick Room up. I could have switched Fini out into Salazzle or the Tornadus, but I don't want anything to feint to a Rock Slide. Oh, actually, it's fine to give up something. They did the play! Yo! Oh, props. They made the double Trick Room. That is so sick. That is so sick. All right. Well done. Well done. So the way that works is you reverse the Trick Room and then set it up again. I can't remember if we've pulled it off on Road to Rank before, but I've been waiting to see it happen, and my opponent pulls it off, so props. All right, I'm gonna Muddy Water here just to scout for the Wide Guard. If they have it, so be it. It's okay. I still don't want to activate the weakness policy. I'm just really nervous about it, so I'll just crunch the stack here. Because if you Wide Guard, you're not KOing the Zygarde. All right, they just Body Press. Sweet. So you probably KO Zygarde here, but that's okay. It's gonna be Photon Geyser, okay. And Shiny Necrozma is so cool. Basically, in this position, yeah, it's. I just hope we don't miss Muddy Water. Okay, it's fine to miss Necrozma. This is +2. Should KO, I would think. Does not actually. Wow. That was such a good double protect play, and us missing is actually now really scary. I can just fake out with this thing, though. So then it's a question, does Stakataka protect? We've seen Trick Room, Body Press. It's probably Rock Slide, Gyro Ball. So then what I could do is just bring out Salazzle and then fake out Muddy. Maybe they KO us, but then it's a 2v1 still. This is where missing Muddy Water is actually really bad. It might be better to just bring out Tornadus, honestly, because I don't think Rock Slide Photon Geyser KOs us. But the thing is, if I bring out Tornadus, I'm at risk of Rock Slide, Flinch, and 2 crits. Whereas here, I'm fairly confident they don't have Protect on the stack. So yeah, I'm gonna fake out M-Muddy. This will be a pretty frustrating one if we lose, honestly. But I couldn't think of a play like... I think... Oh, they do have Wide Guard. Wow. Okay. Wow. They played this really well, though. So, like, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Now, I have Taunt on Tornadus. Way to pull it back. That double Trick Room play, like, I didn't even think about that possibility, honestly. It's funny because, like, I've mentioned it a bunch on Road to Ranked. They played this endgame, like, basically flawlessly. Oh, I thought we were at +2 with Fini, not +1. Okay. How many turns of Trick Room are left? 2. It's Taunt Stakataka here for sure. Do we call Mind again, though, is the question? I can't afford to let them double Trick Room again. Okay, so we get Taunt. They're just gonna Gyro. Actually, a double on a Fini. Okay, well, they target Tornadus here. Okay, cool. Photon Geyser. Question is how much Photon Geyser does into my Fini if they targeted it. But they actually doubled up on the Tornadus. Okay, cool. Alright, alright. So now it's Fini versus Necrozma 1v1. Unless we miss again. Okay, at least we missed the Necrozma, but this is so frustrating. Ugh. That's fine, it's fine. It's just, I think if we hit those, we're in a position where we don't need, like... Maybe I should just Calm Minded more earlier then, I guess. Yeah, these misses have been frustrating, but my opponent has honestly played a near flawless game in this endgame, so, like, I can't, you know, fault them for missing a bunch of attacks. But, I think the play might have been to switch out Fini. I guess I could have, I don't know, if I brought Tornadus out, I could have just Haunted. They Sunsteel Strike. They should Trick Room here. See, I'm mainly debating between Calm Mind or Muddy, but +1 Muddy I would think only does 30 to 40 anyway, so I think I'm just going to Calm Mind here. But this is where it stinks, right? I think if we hit those Muddy Waters earlier, the reality is we needed to hit multiple Muddy Waters to win against Necrozma in this endgame. Okay. They didn't Trick Room, so if this is not a 2-hit KO, I think 2 single target Muddy Waters might be enough. Let's see. Oh man, 177 down to 69. I have to make a big play here, I think. Protect is too obvious, and we also have a potential of accuracy drop with Muddy Water. So I'm gonna Muddy here. I could Protect. If you're in my opponent's position, you might actually click Trick Room. If they Trick Room, oh my goodness. They went for Sunsteel Strike anyway. Okay. But this is on me for relying on Fini. I think ultimately with this team, you do have some slightly inaccurate attacks. And we can't crit too. Zygarde could have gone for... Like, I never even confirmed whether or not there was weakness policy on the Necrozma, right? So maybe they didn't have policy. I didn't play this endgame well. Like, the double Trick Room play was super good on their end. And basically completely brought them back into the battle. Like, yeah, we had 3 Muddy Water misses, and if we hit those, we probably win, but I don't think I maneuvered my endgame super well. We were just in such a good position with Zygarde. Like, maybe we just activate the weakness policy on Necrozma and just go from there anyway. The turn they double Trick Roomed, I had the opportunity to switch Tapu Fini out into Salazzle. I actually think maybe going to Tornadus is the correct play there, because then I can go for Taunt and then deny you Wide Guard. I gotta think about it a little bit more, but yeah. That's one in which, like, yeah, we missed 3 Muddy Waters, but, like, I don't know, we needed to hit a bunch anyway, and I think I got severely outplayed in the second half of the battle. So, yeah, it happens, but props to my opponent. Wish we could see their team, but let's look for another one. Alright, third one of the day, and it's gonna be Zacian. They have an Aegislash and a Galarian Zapdos, so that's really neat. Kinda want to go with the top 4, honestly. Salazzle plus Zygarde is just so fun with this team, so I think I might just go with that. Fini and Torn in the back. The only thing is Regieleki would be pretty solid here. Pharaoh is kind of uncomfortable to bring. Doesn't make much sense. Regieleki could be good, but I think the other Pokemon are just more fun here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in that last game, I had a way to win 100% in that end game before the double protect turn happened. And yeah, perhaps my unwillingness to go for those 1,000 arrows earlier punished me, but I feel like it is fair to assume weakness policy on the... Yeah, it's fair to assume weakness policy on the Necrozma in that position. And if the Muddy Waters hit, I think if the first one connects, or one of the first two connect and the second one connects, we have a pretty good chance of KOing, but yeah, it's fine. Okay, here, I think I actually want to fake out the... If I'm my opponent, I'm switching Zapdos out into Incin and protecting this thing. That's just the safest play for them to make. I kind of want to just fake out Dragon Dance. Getting a speed advantage here would be nice, so I'm down for that. Because it's like, even if you bring in Incin, you negate the attack boost. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, they didn't protect either or switch into Incin. That works for me. Drill Peck. We actually survived. Wow. I didn't expect to survive there, to be honest, but we take those. Okay. You're not Scarf Zapdos. Zacian was faster than it, so that's a nice turn. So Zacian here should feel threatened. You want to target Salazzle. I'm fine going for Sludge Bomb and 1,000 Arrows here, because I could see them protecting Zacian as now you switch out Zapdos. Either way, we get a Dragon Dance off turn 1, so that's good. Oh, unless they have Play Rough. The play I made doesn't cover for Play Rough. They have it, but we actually dodge it. What is this episode today? Does that KO? I would think so. I need to do that calc. I'm going to do it right now because I have the calc pulled up. Zacian into Zygarde. I'm assuming +1, Play Rough. It's not a guaranteed KO, actually. How much bulk do we have, actually? 195, 141. Oh, actually, because we're only 195, that should be a guaranteed KO. If they are max attack investment, which you would think they are. I mean, that just wins us the game, right? Like, we can just go out into... Actually, it's fine to just sacrifice Salazzle here and protect. Yeah, I didn't play well around that. I should have overheated into Zacian instead, I think. And honestly, Play Rough is really common on Zacian these days. Okay, nice play. They glide into Salazzle, but it's fine, because now I just go into Torn and just Tailwind Play Rough. So if you're like bulky Zacian, you're not max attack, we can survive, but I'm going to guess they're just max attack, max speed here, so yeah. A lot of misses in today's episode. But I'm not really happy about this one because I feel like we had a pretty good advantage, and like the fact is that if they hit that and they are just the standard spread, we're in pretty bad shape. So it means I didn't play super well. Oh yeah, the play there was to actually always protect Zygarde. It's to protect Zygarde and then overheat into this. Because one, it scouts out for Play Rough. Two, even if you just knock out and give me the switch into Tornadus, then I can just self-swagger turn 3. So yeah, that's infinitely the better play. Just been rushing my moves a little bit in this one after turn 1. I mean, specifically for that turn. Anyway, here, let's just Tailwind and 1,000 Arrows. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much they can do after that. So, definitely a lucky miss. And glad to... I mean, yeah, it's clear what the better play would have been in that position. So, if we just protect overheated there, we would have just knocked out Zacian. Zapdos would knock out Salazzle, but then I get a free switch in into Torn. You can't beat Zygarde at that point in the game. They had very little answers to Zygarde outside of Zacian, so it makes sense that play roughs on that Zacian. So all we needed to do was play around that option, which I did not do well. We got bailed out by a miss, but there was a very clear path around it, in which even if we lose Salazzle, a free switch into Torn is very welcome there. So, yeah. Alright, let's look for one last one. Alright, final one of the day, and it's another Necrozma team. Would not have expected to play 2 today. That's interesting, but this is a very different one. It's not really Trick Room oriented. Triple Fairy makes Zygarde a little bit scared, but that's okay. Man, I do want to bring Gieleki and the Ferrothorn into this one. This is a tricky one, because all of our Pokemon are not bad. It's just, how do we, like, properly play with Zygarde in this matchup, honestly? I'm kind of down for Tornadus Salazzle, Fini plus Zygarde. I feel like Fini might actually, I was going to say be, like, the hidden MVP here, but I don't know. In Game 2, it literally missed everything. Game 2, too, like, should I have Calm Minded first? I should have. My opponent just played so spectacularly well to pull off the comeback there. Like, they played perfectly. So, yeah, I need to think about how even with their perfect plays, like, there was probably a better route to winning that didn't rely on hitting a bunch of Muddy Waters. So, let's see. It's going to be Whim and Urshifu. Okay. They do have Fake Out Pressure with Salazzle. Could Tail and Overheat turn 1. It's mainly the Lele switching I should respect here, right? So I don't mind Tailwinding. Only one of these two Pokemon can be Focus Sash. That's the other interesting component of this. Urshifu's honestly not that scary to me, but it's the main offensive threat right now. I'm honestly down to just Tailwind Overheat Urshifu turn 1. Okay. Oh, don't tell me Whimsicott's Trick Rooming. That's probably what's happening, isn't it? Okay, you're not Sash Urshifu though, so getting a free knockout there is very appreciated. Is it really going to be Trick Room? Okay, it's just Moonblast. I'll take that. It's actually really good for us because I have Taunt, meaning now I can actually deny you Tailwind as well. That was the best possible way turn 1 could have played out, honestly. They don't protect, they don't have Sash on Urshifu. They ran on Necrozma. Does Necrozma have Trick Room now is the other question. Like, it may be better to just taunt Necrozma here. Switch into Fini. Just because I don't know. That having Trick Room would be really surprising to me in this matchup. But we have Salazzle, which is so good in dealing damage to Necrozma, so yeah, I'm down to taunt and switch out into Fini here. Just because, like, if we taunt, then you can't protect in front of an Overheat, and then I just have a Life Orb Overheat to threaten you with, which is super sweet. And since Urshifu was knocked out earlier on, it's not as important as I initially gave it credit for. Or the Fini isn't as important as it would have been if... Oh, Helping Hand. Okay, nice play. That's fine, though, because now I just get a free switch in, right, into Salazzle, to which I can just Overheat this thing. Just curious on the item. Rock Slide, okay. That is scary. Yeah, there's no way you have Trick Room on that then. Should be Rock Slide triple attack. Okay. Bring out Salazzle. Now you could Tailwind Photon Geyser or switch out. I feel like a switch out is more likely. What would you switch into? Nothing can take an Overheat other than their Fini, and then I can get a Calm Mind up here. I guess the question is whether or not Life Orb Overheat would KO, so it might be better to Muddy Water first in case they stay in with Necrozma. I feel like Necrozma has to switch out here, though, honestly. But if they go for, like, another Helping Hand Rock Slide... Yeah, I kind of want to just Overheat here. It really covers for most of their switch-ins, too. Okay, I'm just going to Overheat Muddy. They switch Whimsicott out. Wow. Into Lele? Yep, trying to bypass Fake Out. But now if Overheat connects, should be game, I think. Actually, not necessarily, because if they're weakness policy... The main thing here is they can't protect in front of this Overheat. Okay, nice. It hits. So scary using these low accuracy moves. That is a one-hit KO onto Necrozma. Wow. That is impressive. So this wasn't even about Zygarde. It was about the Salazzle. Yeah, I think that was just kind of a calculated risk by my opponent, right? You also cover for Fake Out on Salazzle, so that play honestly makes some sense. Because I was actually pretty close to going for Fake Out onto the Whimsicott slot and Calm Minding. But I was like, that play just doesn't make that much sense, because, like, we should at least force the Necrozma out. If you switch in Lele, that probably feints the double up. Salazzle was incredible in this game, though. Just picked up 2 KOs like that. Okay, last turn of Tailwind. Zygarde's so useless in this one, given the fairies. Let's assume you're Choice Scarfed. What do I want to go for here? Sludge Bomb into Lele and switch out to regain terrain control. I think it's fine. They could still win this one. So, like, yeah, Lele just in Psychic terrain with its Psychic type attacks does so much to Fini. Like, that's the main thing I want to cover for. So they Tailwind, that's fine. That's kind of expected. Let's see if they're Scarfed. Okay, we still get the Sludge Bomb off first, so they're not. Is that a KO? Wow. Salazzle literally just single-handedly won this game. It's going to pick up every knockout. That is so wild. That is so impressive, honestly. Okay. Just Sludge Bomb and 1,000 arrows here. Whimsicott obviously can't 3v1. I have to say, I mean, I already knew Salazzle was pretty fun with this team, but at this one, offensively, it was just amazing. Like, the fact that they can one-shot a restricted in Necrozma is wild. Yeah, so I can't help but think that in game 2, I should have just played better with Salazzle. And even with the Overheat, it just one-shots everything. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, game 2, my opponent won by playing really well in the end game. Like, yeah, we missed a bunch of muddy waters, but they also, once again, like, played really flawlessly. And I didn't cover for the double protect option. If I were to replay game 2, I don't like hard switching Salazzle in because it could just feint to your Rock Slide. I think the play in game 2, the turn that they went for double Trick Room was to switch the Tapu Fini out into Tornadus. Because then, if you double Trick Room, you don't knock out Tornadus, meaning I get Taunt off. If you double Trick Room, which is what happened, then Tornadus comes in for free, and that Taunt is even freer. Especially since Muddy Water wasn't a KO on Stakataka in that position. I think Taunt would have been better off. Yeah. And then it's like, if you knock out Tornadus, that means Trick Room expires, meaning I get the free switch in into the Salazzle, meaning I can go for a Fake Out. It's just like the fear of weakness policy in Necrozma is still so scary in game 2, right? So, yeah. I kind of want to sit down and map that game out a little bit better because I'm honestly not sure, but definitely a very interesting set of games here today. And Zygarde definitely was really impressive. I mean, yeah, games 2 and 3 were both interesting. Like game 3, we kind of just won off a unlucky miss by my opponent immediately to start off the game. And like I said, I think I could have executed that one a little bit better. But it's the upside is at least know what the better play was. It was just to protect Zygarde turn 2 after we get that D-Dance boost. Because once again, yeah, I think the other part of me was maybe expecting to get the KO with 1,000 arrows, but it hung on with the Sliver. So I shouldn't expect that knockout. But yeah. That's going to be it for this one. So thanks so much to Ryota, as always, for the team. Check them out, linked in the description below. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll catch you all soon. All right. Peace.